what you can or what you need. And I just want to also invite anyone at any point, if they would like to say a few words, like us here. And with that, Millie would like to say a few words, so I'm just going to hand over to Hannah.
Hi everyone. Thank you. I'm going to try really hard not to cry. If I do, everyone turn away and face the wall. So, as you all know, my grandma was a character. She was outspoken, outgoing, and unforgettable. There was never a dull moment when I was around. She was fiercely loyal and an excellent friend, unwavering in her support and always there for the people she loved. We are also lucky to have known and loved her, and she lives on in all our memories of her. She was beloved, an excellent fun, a wicked card player, a terrible backseat driver. She never ate the crusts on her sandwiches and never left the house without her hair done. And she was famous for making the best apple crumble in the world. She was a strong woman and a great example of never giving up, never giving in, always standing your ground, fighting for what you believe is right, and never underestimating yourself. With every good day and every bad day, it was impossible not to love her. Some of my favourite memories are from when me and Miranda would stay at Grandma and Granddad's house in Somerset in the summer, and we would have really lovely quality time with them, like going to Longley and having Grandad yell expletives at the monkeys running off his windscreen wipers. When me and Miranda learned some of our favourite swear words that day. We would go to Lyme Regis looking for fossils, driving up on the chalky cliff face and folded chairs and a flask of milky tea and eating sandy sandwiches, looking out at the sea below. And some of my happiest memories were just sitting with Grandma and Granddad doing nothing, because just to be around them was to feel loved. Maddie and Isabella would come and stay, and we made such special memories there, hunting for fairies by the creek, making gooseberry sponges, running around the garden without a bloody care in the world, and it was all very Enid Blyton. One of my favourite memories was going to West Bay, and we went during a particularly tough time for our family, but we made the best memories, and we didn't do anything special or particularly newsworthy, but just going down to the beach and splashing in the choppy sea. It was what it's represented to us. That's the importance of family, the steadfast strength that we have when we have each other, and the infinite power of love, because it doesn't run out, you can always make more. During our Somerset summers, we would go to the cinema, and Grandma would diligently sit through all sorts of crap that we would go to see. And one of my favourite times is when we went to see the very underrated film, Top Cat the movie. And she watched the entire film with 3D glasses on. The only problem is the film was in 2D. And in true Valerie fashion, she was convinced that she was right, and in fact, everyone else in the cinema must have been wrong. And yes, many of us in this room today have certainly inherited Grandma's stubbornness, headstrongness, and what we used to call her fiery red-headedness, even though she was a natural brunette. Like, I don't know what we were. She was not easy, and she was not simple, but she was excellent fun. And I believe that Valerie was stubborn because she was often the smartest person in the room, and she always had the right answer. And I think growing up in a time where women were considered better seen and not heard, she made sure she was heard loud and clear. And I would often ask her what she would have been if she'd grown up in another time, and she would look thoughtfully out the window without giving me a definite answer. But one day she turned to me, having made up her mind, and in response to my question, what would you have been if you were born in a different time, she replied, in charge. She was not one to be underestimated and not one to be trifled with. She was naughty enough to keep life interesting. She was a great story and was an incredible listener, and always there when we needed her. She loved reading, writing strongly worded letters. She gave the warmest hugs and always reminded us to pick ourselves up when we fall, literally. She was cheeky, and we will miss that twinkle in her eye that you saw when she put her mind to something, because she filled all of our lives with colour. Her marriage to Peter was pretty much a lifelong partnership. They were a colourful couple, to say the least. Very passionate, very loud, but ultimately a partnership built to last, and they made a great team. I remember one New Year's Eve, the countdown had come and gone, and all the kids are being shuffled up to bed. And I went down to get a glass of water, and I heard music coming in from the kitchen, and it was playing Every Time We Say Goodbye, which was their song. I peeked around the corner and saw the two of them slow dancing in the early hours of the new year. No one else saw it, and I scuttled right back up to bed, but to this day it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. When Grandma and Granddad would come up to London for Christmas, we had so much fun, like the annual pantomime in Richmond Theatre, which one of the stand-up performances was Fonzie from Happy Days playing Captain Hook, and Grandma not knowing what the hell was going on for about 2 hours. Me and Miranda would play hide and seek, and one day Grandma asked to join in, and she was quite doddery even then, and so we didn't have much faith in her, to be honest. But after an almost concerning amount of time seeking, we found her hidden under my bed. And needless to say, she won that round, and she loved to win, and she relished in her victory. And I remember looking at her and thinking, Valerie, you are a rock star. After Grandad passed away, she came up to London and rebuilt her life. Our annual trips to Somerset were replaced with daily visits to her flat at Twickenham, filled with fish and chip Thursdays, play cards, Scrabble, Cluedo, with big jugs of strong orange squash. When I learnt to drive, I would take her to get her hair done and to the bridge club every week, and take her around Richmond Park where she would eat ice creams and would just tell me endless facts about wildlife because she knew everything. We'd watch movies. She loved a steamy rom-com, particularly those including her celebrity crush, Ryan Gosling, who, after looking through pictures of Grandad, I think they bear a striking resemblance. Me and Miranda would come to her flat after school just to chat in a way we never really could before because they lived so far away. And in the last 6 years, we really got to know her, which has made losing her so hard. She has been the absolute centre of our family and a constant in our lives, and I don't know how we will fill the hole that this loss has left. But Grandma would say, keep pushing forward, make the most of every day, don't harp on about the past, but keep the memories that keep you going in your heart. And the most painful part of all of this is that I loved being her granddaughter. She taught me so much without even trying. I would give anything to have one more milky cup of tea with her, just chatting about pointless things like books, the birds outside her window, boys, anything and everything. Last page, I promise. I look back at these memories that we made through the years, with Grandad pottering in the garden, trimming his roses with surgical precision, water fights in the summer, playing badminton on the lawn, Easter egg hunts, picking apples from the garden and playing croquet, which one year Ned, Jack and Harry decided to combine. We would get an apple, throw it, bat it with the croquet stick, these massive apples flying dangerously close to Grandad's greenhouse. I was safe to say it was a very short-lived game. But I remember every birthday, every Christmas, feeding bacon to the dogs under the breakfast table, and Grandma giving me a wink and turning a blind eye, cream tea at Montague House, fireworks night, and all those simple days that passed by blissfully. In the last years, she moved into the care home, Laurel Dean, where she was so looked after, and it really felt like home and like family. And I would come and visit with a Victoria sponge in hand and would read her the newest Richard Osmond installment because she loved her murder mysteries. And the last time I went round before she became ill, she turned to me and said, I really like this garden. I'm a very lucky girl. And when Grandad died, which was catastrophic, none of us knew if she would be able to survive the loss. She had thought that the coming time without him would be unlivable, but it became some of the best years of our lives. And so much of that was because of my dad. My dad sacrificed his weekends. He took her to every club, every appointment, held her hand when she was down. He created a life for her here and created some of our fondest memories as a family, without expectation or applause. He selflessly kept her going through all the good days and all the bad. And on Christmas Day this year, which is one of the last times we all saw her, she looked up and said, thank you for being here. And we all knew it meant so much more than just being there on Christmas Day. It was being there for all the days that gave us such wonderful moments with her. And it's hard to accept she's gone because she's always been there for us as a mother, an aunt, a cousin, a grandmother, a neighbour, a friend. She'll be dearly missed, but it's important to look back at all the wonderful memories we made together and the beautiful family that she's created. She lives on through all of us, through our lives, our love, and our memories of her. and she'll be with us always, and she'll want us to keep calm, carry on, and make as much trouble as she did. Thank you.